Okay, can you guys see my screen? Awesome. So today's going to be a little bit more fun and a little bit more interactive. Today, I'm going to learn a little bit more about you guys so we can best structure the course going forward. I'll give you guys some time. Let me start the session first. Start session. All right, cool. Yeah, let me know if anyone can't log in to this poll. I'll give you guys let's give it a minute, 2 minutes. Let's do 2 minutes. Yeah, please join if you can. It'll make it a little bit more interactive, and I want to hear about more about you guys.
Yeah, chat access has been enabled, people. So please go ahead and interact because like he is spending his time for you guys right now.
Okay, let's give it one more minute, and then we'll go through.
Revson, you own the call. I actually got to go take another call, but this
All
is
right,
all you from now until 5.
all right, sounds good. We are joining it so we can do live polling through today, which should be useful. And we'll have polls intermediately every session just to kind of get a baseline where everyone's at, and then move forward. I'll put you right here so I can see you. Ooh, cool. It's almost 2 minutes. Let me know if you can get in. Right. Oh, that's fine if you can't. Yeah, focus on driving. All right. So yeah, for today, we're gonna start off with some polls, basically, just to get a better understanding of, who you guys are, where you're at, what's your commitment to getting studying for this exam. Uh, then for 2 and 3, we'll go through like an example problem for 3, and then for 2, um, sort of some test taking tips, I would say. And then 4, I'm going to show you guys what workflow I kind of used for studying, and then sort of how to like get better iteratively if you're doing a little bit every day, which should be helpful. And then for the last one, we're going to take a little peek at next week's first session, which will be our first domain, which will be domain 4. Um, there'll be some vocabulary. If we have time, I'll go through the vocabulary, and we can tune it going forward. So let's do it here. First, I'm going to do a couple polls. Let me see where everyone's at. Um, da, 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 da. Okay, let's open this poll. All right. So first, I'm trying to get a better idea of what's driving you to get the CCA-F. Um, that way, I can get a better idea of what you guys really want from this course. Can you guys see that poll? Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can pick 2 for this one. There we go. Let's give it a minute. Hmm, nice. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Everyone wants a career move. Let's wait a little bit more. I'll do 45 seconds. So 15 more seconds. All right. Cool. Yeah. So career move. That's probably the best choice in terms of what this course is for. So we're definitely gonna prep you enough to get the exam. Once you get the exam, probably make a little portfolio. But we'll talk about like after steps after the 5 weeks, unless anyone wants like a pressing question, then we can answer that right away. All right. So we're gonna stop this poll. Okay. So everyone do career move. Now a better one. Open poll. Try to get a better idea of your guys' usage of Claude Code, either one of those. Um, yeah, we'll do another minute here. Uh, can I give you guys sound? 45 seconds. Okay, so you guys an occasional. Okay, that's helpful. Occasional. Okay, give me 15 more seconds. Oh, there I can see now. There's 4 responses. And how many people are here? Let me see. Just take a quick look. Where did you go? Yeah, whatever. 5. There we go. All right, cool. Let me double check real quick. Okay, so there's 5 of you guys. All right, perfect. That's five answers. It's everyone. I don't have to wait. Don't have to wait any longer. All right, cool. So occasional daily users. Maybe does anyone want to kind of talk about in chat? I mean, I wish I could turn you guys volume on. I'm not too familiar with the Zoom thing. Oh, here we go. Can I give you guys audio? You know what? I'll make sure for next session I can give you guys audio. Um, yeah. Can anyone of you guys want to talk about sort of what's it called? How you guys use it currently? Much better if we could speak, but here, like if one of two, you guys can share sort of how you guys use it as of now, um, so I get an idea of sort of where you're currently at in terms of complexity using Claude. I mean, if like for most of us, everyone, I think everyone kind of it's replaced search for most people, right? Like we don't go to Google that much anymore. We'll go straight to Chat GPT or Claude, ask a question, and even Google itself got rid of when you do a search, its first response now is Gemini, which is their AI. Oh, so Asa, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yeah, that's like a traditional Claude code usage. Yeah, right. Awesome. Okay, let's stop the poll. So this is going to be Asa. I'm assuming you're going to be here, but let's see where everyone else is at as well. Um, so I'll wait for all 5 of you guys to respond. So I just need 2 more responses. Okay, so a little bit, one more person. Okay, so a little distribution. You got like 60% of you guys have some coding experience, and then 2 of you don't. It's all good. Coding is not tested on this exam. That's more of the CCD-V, which is like the Cloud Certified Developer, I believe is the term. But that's awesome. Okay, here's another one that's gonna be important is um, have you finished all of the Cloud courses? Because if you haven't, you're gonna be at you might, yeah, okay. So 3, give me 2 more. Okay, one more. One more person. I bet As I bet you that you're that yes, aren't you? Okay, just one more person. I guess we can just keep going. Okay, so for the skill jar class, right? Okay, so we talked last session, that you had to pass all the skill jar courses before sitting for the exam. Um, that's definitely something you should work on. You can sign up for it. You don't have to have a partner account to sign up for the class. I would definitely take the class, and I definitely do the API course first. It'll take you maybe like 9-ish hours, uh, especially if you have no coding experience. It's going to add some more. There will be some live coding specifically in the API skill jar class. Uh, if you it feels too overwhelming for you, you can skip it and you can still probably pass like the checkpoint quizzes. Um, but if you can, they do walk you through it how to do it. So if you can do it, please do it. It'll help a lot. Like knowing how LLM works, like it'll give you so much more insight into every domain and why it does what it does. Um, so definitely do the skill jar classes as soon as you can, specifically the API one first, because that'll be the most informative. It's also the longest. Like the API course is maybe like 80% of the meat, and then the other 4 courses or 3 courses are 20%. All right, so we'll stop both here. And this is an idea of how much content and what content I should focus on. So I'm trying to figure out exactly, how many hours a week you're going to be able to commit to studying. Um, you can just not do anything and just watch the videos, and we'll try to prep you as much as possible. Um, but the exam is hard, right? And if we're doing, let's say, um, we're doing 2 sessions a week, 5 sessions, so 10 sessions, 10 hours. Say studying for only 10 hours is going to be for the exam is quite ambitious, as I would say. Like we'll help you find some holes, but man, yeah, you can't do it in 10 hours. That'd be really impressive. Unless you're like someone who's had been working on Claude, especially Claude code for like our Claude system for like 6 months. Um, but yeah. Okay, yeah. So 3 more. Let's get one more response. Less than 2 hours. Okay. We got a distribution. 2 to 4 hours. 2 to 4 hours. Okay, a week. Okay, that's good. I'm going to press you for that 4, but 2 to 4 is good. Less than 2, you need to like, I would say, swap your priorities somewhere in life to commit more time if you really want to pass. All right. Thank you for responding. And then, uh, this is get a better idea of how you want to handle practice in between. Examples, I guess I can explain it. Like you'll do it by yourself. I just point you and you go, I'll do it. Uh, you want a structured assignment? That's a good one. Yeah. We can cover everything live. That's the hard one. Like I don't know if I can fit all the content. Okay, and depends on and yeah, we can adjust. All right, cool. All right, that is useful. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna stop the poll. Okay, so now we're gonna jump in. To get a better idea of how you guys break down problems, let's take a look at this. This is mainly because the exam choices are quite difficult. It's like it's like worse than the SAT. It's closer to like LSAT or CFFA, where your ability to mark off problems that are incorrect or less good is going to be critical. Like that's I like when I was doing mock exams, I'd put like maybe like out of 60 questions, maybe at most 11 questions, maybe where I wasn't confident, right? And I talked about the last one, putting like the question mark. Um, but yeah, on the exam, you'll have an ability to cross out choices, and you're really gonna want to do that. Um, But yeah, okay, so let's stick with the first instinct. Awesome. Let me go back to the slide. Yeah. All right. So yeah, when studying, definitely gauge your confidence. You shouldn't, like I said before too. You should know when you're guessing, right? Don't be one of those people who study and get like they guess correctly and you're like, oh, I knew it all along. You're really gonna want to tune in and like mark down questions you don't know. Even if you got the answer right, but you don't know why you got it right, you're gonna want to mark that down. Um, that's what's really going to build sort of that intuition and knowledge base that you need for the exam. Right here. But yeah, so like when they change the answer, like definitely like relax, focus, because time pressure also kind of sucks on the exam. Um, so you just focus, read the choice, see the choice A, choice B, really try to reason, like have a fact, know like that's how you're gonna like figure out which choices are wrong, right? Like for instance, if you haven't, most of you guys haven't done the skill jar, but like temperature, right? Temperature is like it changes the response based on like the higher the temperature. The way I think about it is, you're kind of loose, you're more relaxed. It'll give you more creative answers in the sense that it'll change the distribution probability on it. And then if the temperature is cold, it's more rigid and it's going to return like the highest probability answer, is the way I like to think about it. Um, yeah. Okay. Let me go pull eight. All right. So yeah, let's go jump into this one. I'm going really fast. Good. No contents, no context. This is just an example problem from the exam. Take your time. We'll give it 3 minutes because it's a pretty long one. Or 3 minutes. I'll wait till all four people respond, and I'll shut up a little bit so you can focus. And remember, you answer it and you give yourself a confidence. So keep the answer to yours, or give me the answer, but then keep your confidence to yourself. And try not to look at other people's answers. As easy as it is to look up. It's two more responses. Oh, I can see the number of people. Awesome. All right. So three responses. You're all guessing the same thing. Okay. Okay. One more response. Oh, cool. I got all four people who responded. I hate you guys because you guys, three of you did get the correct answer. Um, when I taught this, normally most people guess B on it, but we got three C's and one A. Um, yeah, so it is a little niche thing. It is one of the topics, right? Where for Claude to do any right thing, it has to read the file first. But here's the catch. When I took my practice exam 10, my 10th mock, uh, it actually marked B correct and it marked C incorrect, right? So so when I actually was looking through my notes or my question bank that I created, I talked about it last time about like how I created a question bank. Um, a lot of these current resources that are available to you guys, uh, they're programmatically generating the questions based off the docs, right? That or maybe they have people who are like, they make them pay for the exam and try to remember all the questions. But I doubt it's that one. So one of the cool things about this is sort of, you're going to be, if you have a question bank, right, and you encounter sort of the same concept over and over again, um, if one of those resources that you're using is wrong, the Claude tutor is going to be able to go, hey, these two things are saying something differently. Let me go and check which one's correct, right? Sorry, I keep doing that. And then we can take a look. Projects, CCA-F, memory. Let's do context. No, it's this one, instructions. Here we go. Here. So in my tutor, right, it has, the priority list of what's right. So like the official exam guide is right, is the source, like it's never wrong. And then, Anthropic documentation is number two. And then any kind of project stuff that I did. So like, and it's the AI inference is the last one. This actually helped because like when I was studying when I was actually doing all these mock exams, maybe like 7% of the time, there would be some sort of conflicting source material. And if you don't detect that mistake, you're going to learn the wrong thing. And then when you take the exam, it's going to make your brain hurt because something logically is not going to fit together. So yeah, see, yeah, exam 10 was wrong. If we have time towards the end, which I think we will, because I am going by a mile a minute, I'll show you the prompt that I use to make a nice little dashboard. I don't think dashboards are necessary for this, but they're still nice, and it's a simple prompt, so you can use it to your own discretion. Okay, so let's talk about this study loop, right? We're gonna drill, right? We're gonna do some. This is how you should practice every day. You don't have to do a full 60 exam questions like I do. Like, that's how I studied. But if you can do like maybe 30 to 40 questions, right? And the questions should only take you, I don't want to say should, because that might, if you're slow, it's going to suck. So anywhere from like 45 seconds to maybe like a minute, 90 seconds, maybe like in the middle, somewhere in the middle. So when I say drill mode, let's do insert Safari. I think I showed you guys last time. Let's do it again real quick. Let's start quiz. And you can do like 30. Let's just do 20. I'm not actually going to do it. Start quiz. All right. So these are your questions. You're just going to, I'm guessing. Don't worry about it. Wrong. All right. Remember I told you before, you're going to like open everything. You're going to do the screenshot. Bam. Right. So you keep doing, so you here, because it has the choices for you. Of why it's right, why it's wrong. So when you're drilling this, you go through the problems, you answer the best of your ability, read the explanation for why it's right, and why your choice is wrong. If you have extra time, read why the other choices are wrong. But in terms of like value, the getting it right, and if you picked it wrong, those are the high value things to really study. If you do record all your questions in your question bank when you're talking to Claude or Codex, whatever you're using, it's going to be able to find the patterns of like, hey, you keep missing this question and you keep guessing this, so maybe you have a wrong understanding of something, and that sort of personalized tutoring is very valuable. All right, so let's go to the next one. So yeah, here, so we drill, we do the questions, you look at the feedback. So do 1 and 2, like cycle through it every day, right? Do some questions, get some feedback, go back and forth. Remember to take the screenshots. It doesn't even have to be my resource. It can be a different resource. And you just have to make a prompt to do it. And if you get stuck, reach out to me, and then we can work on a prompt to extract the data correctly. I have my prompts that I use. If you reach out to me there or reach me out email, I can easily provide you the prompt that I used. So then the second one is sort of, you want to go in review mode, right? So this is where you're like talking to Claude. It's like, look at my practice exam. And then it's going to say, hey, you got like 15 wrong. Um, and then it'll be like, okay, you really suck at this subdomain, right? So we have the five domains, and each domain can be broken down to a couple subdomains. It's going to help you pinpoint what you got wrong. Yeah, and then you're going to want to, like I said before, spaced reasking. This is like classic learning 101, where one of the most important things to do when you're learning something uh, is spaced repetition, right? You want to redo stuff on the verge of where you were going to forget it, right? Like that's the peak of the curve in terms of optimability. And I'll show you like a quick, yeah, I think the artifact. Do you want to see the artifact? Let's show you the artifact. All right, put the artifact. Where are you? Here you are. So, right, I just did this, generated it for my practice exam one, right? This is like when I did some of the courses for SkillDraw. I finished those. I did like a light resource somewhere. The questions were really like a little bit harder than the SkillDraw classes, but like way easier than the sort of way easier than the Search Safari. So like my first attempt, right? So I did the 60 questions, 45 right, 15 wrong, 75%. It shows you here, right? Like each domain, what you scored, right? It tells you where you're weak, right? I missed 0 out of, right? So I got 3 questions. I got them all wrong. Same here, 3 questions, all wrong. And it will give you like a breakdown here. So you can actually look up what to study here. It gives you a prep of like where you messed up the most. I think this guy also weighted it in terms of domain 1 is the highest weight you have to know because it's 20%, 27% of the exam. But yeah, this is like a simple prompt. Takes like 5 minutes to generate, and you can do this. So I did all my mocks from Search Safari. If you're gonna do it for different resources, like online resources, you may want to bundle them together so they don't, because like if the formats are kind of really different, it might be easy. But just remember when you merge data from different schemas, it can get kind of wonky a little bit. Okay, so let's go back to here. This is the study loop. Here's another poll. So yeah, remember, so domain 4, first one we're going to cover, prompt engineering and structured output. Then we go domain 5, context management and reliability. Context is going to be all about like, I'm going to make analogous claims to like, I think of servers as people. So I have a server as a person. How to manage context between people is the same as managing context between agents or managing context between systems. So that's 4. 2 is going to be a little bit more technical. It's going to be actual the tool design and MCP integration. MCP can be, I don't want to say this incorrectly, but it's kind of analogous to like a software package, right? Where you can call stuff from it. And then D1, agentic architecture is sort of how to spin up agents and sub-agents, and then sort of how to orchestrate that deployment. You can think of agents as just individual running instances of the LLM or Claude or Codex, communicating with each other to finish some sort of objective. And then D3 for Claude Code configuration and workflows. This sucker is like file hierarchy, how inheritance works in terms of rules. This one's like, it's going to be hard for non-coders at the start. So we'll dig in a little bit, like some base, like just file navigation stuff, because that'll give you most of the hints you need to solve this one. It's not too difficult, so don't get worried. The coding and stuff is quite low level. Not low level, like easy. All right, so I have a question. I have the question for you. I'm going to see what you guys are at. Which domain are you? This stuff, cool. All right, yeah. Let me see. Out of the 5 domains that we just talked about, which domain are you most nervous about? I'll wait. Oh no, everybody left. All right, three is cool. Three is everyone. Cloud code. Okay, cool. So luckily, the topics that you guys are most worried about, we'll handle them uh, at the. Oh, you guys are just logging in. I get it now. Yeah, cool. So we're gonna do that the last. So that should be you'll have a good foundation moving forward on how to um, go through it. All right, awesome. I have one more poll at the end, so you guys can actually put your thing away if you want. Um, I'll be at the end. All right, so week one, prompt engineering, and let's do a little preview of next Tuesday. Right, domain 4, 20% of the exam. We're going to do system prompts and templates. We're going to do few shotting, and so few shots like you know what I'm going to cover it next slide, but we'll go through it. We'll do structured output versus tool use. Extended thinking, that's like a setting for Claude to do stuff. And then the big one, syntax versus semantic trap. So then, bam, bam, bam. This is the hard. This is gonna be the fun stuff. Let's see if I can zoom in. We'll go. Since you guys don't have a super rich background, and some of you guys haven't done the skill jar, and since we have time, um, let's go through all of this vocabulary, right? And you can use this vocabulary. Like if you knew what it was, you can feel a little bit better going into Friday or Tuesday. And if you're kind of struggling, like you don't know what it is, definitely look back at this, kind of look it up on your own time. And then if something doesn't make sense, you can email me right away. I'll try to get back to you fast as possible. I may set up a Discord server. That way you guys can, I'll ask survey. I actually write that down. What kind of live responses you guys want, like Discord, Slack, or let's see, Slack, or something else. I don't know. Yeah, so tool use is just Claude asking, to use a tool. Tool choices is the structure. Remember, guys, if you don't know this, you're not supposed to know this. You'll learn this as you study session 4, but I'm going to go over it real quick, just so you can once again pace yourself on how far behind or how ahead of you are. So tool choice is just sort of the setting of like if it's auto, that's the normal one. If it's any, it has to pick a tool, right? So there's no not picking a tool. Tool choice is literally explicitly picking a tool, and then none is no tool. Just give me back some text. So then we have JSON schema. That's sort of like you can think of it as like a CSV. JSON is just another file format, but it has what's called some structured properties that make it useful. Nullable and optional fields. Nullable just means it's absent. So there is a difference. They will test you on this. Let's say we get a form back, right? And the field was like person's first name, person's last name, and their phone number, right? And if we get a blank phone number, or if we like you have to differentiate between blank, right, which is like an empty field, which would mean that the phone number is like maybe they don't have no. So empty string is they didn't input a phone number, right? And then there's the fact that like maybe the person doesn't have a phone number. So there's a difference between not being there, like not being there semantically, or just not being entered, right? Like it's either if that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. Message API is just so when you interact with Claude, you're sending like a request over the network, like here's my question, here's my response, and then you build on it going back and forth. That's synchronous, or it's real time. Basically, it's not waiting. It's waiting in the network sense, but it's going to them. It's going to Claude. Claude's going to look at your question. It's going to spit back a response. That's real time, right? It's not really waiting for anything. The batch message API is you can send a bunch of requests up to 100,000 if I recall. Okay, here's right here, 1,000 requests. And Claude is going to just wait until they have like spare compute, and then they're going to actually process your whole entire batch, and you pay half the amount of money. So for any kind of task or thing that you're going to do that doesn't need to be real time, you should use it. And like this is one of the more practical things to know. So you can use it and get savings of 50%, which isn't bad. Here, custom ID. Every batch message has to have a custom ID because there's the order and how the batch is going to be processed. So, batch. Like think of batch like a batch of cookies, right? There's a bunch of things, similar things in the same kind of container. Yeah, so the custom ID is to basically indicate on each of the requests or each of the batch messages the response. That's how you're going to, because the Claude's going to spit back the response. It's going to have that custom ID, so you can link the batch response to the actual batch message. Nothing too bad. Extended thinking. This is just like a mode. If you've used it before, you might have seen it. It's definitely like one of the toggle settings. But yeah, big catch here is extended thinking doesn't solve a lot of the problems. I mean, it's like useful for like exploration and stuff. But most of the time in most of the exam, it's like a curveball where you're like, if it's better thinking, it's probably doing a better job. That's not necessarily the case. Extended thinking just means it'll think longer. It doesn't mean it's going to think better. System prompt. We'll cover this one later. I can't spend that real quick. Here are some general engineering terms. I'm gonna go up, down. So the confidence calibration and routing, that's like, I'm asking my AI, it's giving me like, I think the easy one is a data extraction, right? Which is like scenario 6. It's saying it's doing some sort of work. It's going to calibrate itself. And then based on that calibration, it's going to route it to somewhere else. Right? It's like, I don't really know this answer. Sometimes it'll prompt you, like when you're doing a chat, it'll be like, oh, I don't really know. It doesn't really know what you want. So it'll ask you a question in the terms of like prompt stuff, and you're doing like non-chat version. So you're doing like the API or Claude Code. Yeah, it's just like it's going to route to a different thing. You can think of it as a pipeline where it's like, hey, I'm not really confident. Let a human take a look at it. I'm kind of okay. Take a look at it, log it. You always should log even like kind of the middle mistakes. And then finally, low confidence or high confidence, like, okay, it trusted. All right, so then another one is retriable versus non-retriable errors. Retriable is sort of like, you knock on the door, no one responds. You knock over again, a little bit later. Non-retriable is sort of like, once you do it, you can't undo or you can't redo it. That's pretty much it. Then retry. So here, retry error feedback. This is like when you're working with an agent. You have it do something. It messes up, right? The canonical use case is like, I'm trying to get structured output for my response, so I can take that data and pass it down. But like maybe I have a syntactical error, which is we'll get to it. This one will like Claude, you give Claude back the error message, and then Claude can actually try to fix and decide how to solve the problem. So what you'll notice in the exam is tested on a lot is you want rich data being fed back from the response to like its coordinator agent, so like one level up, right? It's like you're an employee, you have your boss, something messes up that's blocking you and you can't do it. So you write up a detail about like, this didn't work. I tried this. Give it to your boss. Your boss looks at it. Your boss goes, okay, let's try this. Gives you new instructions, and then he retries it. So you always want to give rich feedback So you can give Claude an attempt to fix it. Um, and that's important. We'll dig more into it on the other thing because there are different kinds of errors. And of those errors, each error has its own sort of, should I retry it or should I not retry it? All right, so let's do hallucinations. This one you've probably heard uh, in the media right now, right? Hallucinate, or like, yeah, it's like sort of, what's a good example of this? What's a good one for hallucinations? What's this required? I'll come back to that. I think I'm trying to remember how a good example of that one. It's not hard. I just want to give you a good example. Syntactical error versus semantic error. Syntax error is like when you have a CSV. I'm pretty sure you guys have once encountered this kind of thing. You get a CSV. Someone puts like an extra comma, and it messes up that row. And because that one row failed, the whole file load up fails. That's a syntax error, right? Because there is some sort of structure that needs to be enforced, and if you do not adhere to it, that's a syntax error. Semantic error is more so meaning, right? Like the meaning of the data is incorrect. Um, so the canonical use case for this one that we'll see in chapter 4 is let's say I get like a itemized list of my expenses, right? Like I bought ABC, ABC was 1, 2, 3, right? And my receipt said total was $6. But then when we look at our feedback from our data extraction pipeline, it's going to be like total is $6, but then the line item is going to say $5, right? So like it's semantically wrong, right? Because we know for a fact those numbers should be equal. We also know for a fact that we saw 1, 2, 3, so we know it's 6. But there's nothing going to stop the semantic error from going in. You can block syntax. Semantic is harder to do. I mean, for this specific use case of the numbers just not matching, that's an easier one to fix. But there are going to be like a lot of semantic issues that are going to like that are kind of harder to detect. Few shot versus zero shot. This is sort of giving examples to your LLM based on some prompt, right? So zero shot prompting is like giving no examples. Few shot prompting is giving a few examples. You can think of it as sort of like you just got hired a new assistant. It knows all this stuff, right? It's a human being, it has all this knowledge, and you give it a task, and it's going to best to its ability on its training data. Basically, all the information you've learned is your training data. Zero shot is not giving them any example and just say do it. Few shot is like giving it like an outline. Follow this outline, follow this procedure, and then prompts perform way better when you give them the few examples. You also, for those examples, want them to be diverse, right? If you keep, because you don't want to, remember, you don't want to flood the context, right? So you can't put like 100,000, even like even 50 is pushing it, examples into your prompt, right? Because you're getting you're getting paid, or you're it's going to cost you, right? Every little bit of context that you send in. Um, so if you have a bunch of stuff and that's in every conversation, right? Because conversations are back and forth and the history gets persisted, that bill is gonna, jump up faster, a lot faster. So the canonical is you wanna have like 2 to 5 examples, but you want them to be diverse so the LLM can develop, a little bit of diversity in how it approaches the problem. We'll get more into it, next week, but it's important. And this, honestly, like in chapter 4, this is probably the most valuable thing you can do to your prompts right now, is to give examples. Here, we'll talk about categorical and subjective criteria. Best way to think about this is we have 2 bouncers, right? Trying to get into the nightclub. You give one nightclub person, hey, no shirt, no shoes, no service, right? So the bouncer has a checklist. It goes, you know what? He doesn't have shoes, or he doesn't have a shirt. He can't come into the club. Subjective criteria would be like the bouncer number 2. and bouncer number two is like his instructions for letting people in is like don't let anyone in don't let anyone shady in, or don't let guy or don't let let's just stay with that. I don't want to get political. So it's like it's subjective to the age, so that the bouncer, right? The bouncer's his perspective on the instructant is subjective. But for categorical, it's like a checklist. It gets rid of sort of biases. So for the most part, you always want to go categorical. You want to avoid subjective because subjective isn't definitive, and LLMs are probabilistic. So it's going, it's going to cause some issues down. Turn. Okay, and then here we go. Precision and recall. A good way to think about this one is you have two fire alarms, right? Like a smoke detector. So high precision, yeah, high precision, low recall is sort of no low high, yeah, high. Yeah. So low precision, first one, low precision and high recall is that smoke detector that just keeps going off, like just a little bit of smoke, its recall is so high that like the recall being it making a noise, it can be so annoying that you're just going to take the fire alarm out, defeating its purpose, right? But on the flip side, let's say you have a fire alarm that doesn't go off very often. It's still calibrated to go off. It just might need to, it'll have a higher threshold. So for instance, the first version with low precision, it kept going off, right? Precision being like, was it accurate to go off? Um, so yeah, low precision, high precision. Oh, the trade-off. The trade-off is that if a small fire starts, your one that doesn't go off very often might have to wait a little bit more, right? So it's gonna like it may warn you a little. It's gonna warn you a little bit later, right? But that first one would have alerted you as soon as like the fire started to kindle. So these are sort of these trade-offs you have to make. The trade-offs really depend on sort of the use case, right? Like with all things in statistics, right? Like if the second fire alarm didn't go off uh, until it was too late, that's not a good product. Um, yeah, and the false negatives, false positives. I don't have a good example for this right now. But yeah, so these are some general terms. We'll do terms every week for the preceding session. Uh, Let me know if this is helpful, because if this is not, I hope I didn't waste a bunch of your guys' time. I can go on and on. I'm learning. This is the fun stuff for me and for you guys. Um, I like to come up with good explanations. Okay. And these are some of the higher level stuff we're going to be covering next week. Multi-pass review architecture, which is sort of just, going through, we'll go through it. Detecting pattern field. This is useful for data extraction. This is the example I was talking to you about, stated total versus calculated total, what it should do, what to do about it. And here it's saying like, yeah, you should flag it. Self-review bias. This is the easiest one for me or to teach. This one's like, write me an architectural diagram. Claude goes, sure, I'll do it, makes it. And you're like, hey, rate yourself on how good you did. And it goes, oh, I did a stellar job. And this is a problem because it's in the same context. So Claude is actually biased for its own answers because it remembers why it picked it. So for a lot of like, whenever you have any kind of bias like that, like even I said before, I misspoke. You're going to want an independent, fresh session to actually review your stuff, right? Because I remember I was talking about routing, where it's like, based on your confidence route, the thing that gives it its confidence should not be the same instance that generated the code or generated the solution, because it's biased and you want an unbiased fresh eyes. This is like when you were in like high school, right? And you had a paper and your teacher was like, review your work after like 2-3 hours, because you want that context to kind of like flush out and get a fresh perspectives. And then attention dilution is important in the sense that like this one has a lot of takeaways. Okay, we're almost done. This has a lot of takeaways because this affects you even if you're using just Claude Chat, right? Just like a chat session and stuff. Attention dilution is sort of like you're trying to solve a problem, right? But let's say you just keep using the same chat for all your different problems, right? Claude is going to have to try to think about what strand of thought to follow, right? And if you have a bunch of diverse things that you're talking about, Claude doesn't know when to like to prune, not too much. It does some stuff, but it doesn't know how to prune uh other, like conversation pathways. Um, which makes sense, right? Like it's not human. So unless you explicitly say not to track it, it's going to like track it in the context of the problem. So as conversations get longer and longer, this becomes an issue. Attention, like it's just too hard for it to keep attention for everything while still giving really effective answers. Uh, my favorite example of this for myself when I first did it was I was doing some studying, right, some technical studying, and then I got invited to a D&D meeting or a thing, and I was like, you know what? I don't know what name I want for my character. So I asked chat, like, hey, I'm gonna play a D&D session. I want to figure out, my name. Give me like a bunch of names and sort of, what they mean. And then when it came back, it used all of my tech studying as context for that prompt, and it was giving me like technical names and stuff, and then that's what really stuck in my mind is like you don't want to mix up context because it can give some really bad examples in this case. But I guess if you're like want something really new, um, I can say use case for it for the exploration. And then so yeah, let's go through housekeeping. Yeah, we'll do sessions Tuesdays, Thursdays for the next 5 weeks. Try to study as much as possible. If you have any questions, please email me. I will get back to you as soon as possible. I'll be looking to set up like a Discord or oh no, that's what I want to ask you guys. I'll do that afterwards. And then all right, let's do two more polls and then we can close it out. 2 minutes. Yeah, we can do this real quick. Poll content. You guys work on that. And go back over here. All right, ready to go. Still finding my footing. Yeah. So whoever voted for still finding my footing, send me a message and we can talk and see what how we can alleviate some of your stress or your worries. No one's overwhelmed. That's good. I'm really excited about that. And that's like 4 of you. That's plenty. And the last one. How, I can email, but email it does have some friction for me in terms of how fast I'll respond. Um, do you guys use Slack or Discord? Because if you can, I can make a Discord and then I can get your messages right away, rather than waiting for that email wait response cycle. So I'm doing either Slack or Discord, and then other. I'm curious if you guys have a different way of wanting to communicate. I am biased towards Discord, but if you guys have a Slack, I can do Slack too. Let's get two more. Almost out of time. Yeah. Okay, so this will definitely be the end, but I'm gonna wait for you the three. Oh, Discord. Okay, let's do one more. One more. And for the fourth person who doesn't use Discord, we can set you up with Discord if you don't want Discord. Other. For the person that did other, what communication channel were you thinking in mind? Just type it into chat. Voice ones. Interesting. Okay, I'll look into the voice ones. Thank you for the response. Uh, I'll talk to Richard about WAP too. Um, no, I'd have to set up Discord as a, but I like responding fast with because it has a Discord or like a desktop app. Yeah, and then that way I can also share code snippets with you guys as well as the prompts as well. It'll have formatting, but I'll talk to Richard about it.
Cool. Okay. Are we good for this session?
Yeah,
We just
we're
finished
good
up
for the
week
session.
one.
We just finished up. Yep, the last
I
poll.
saw that. I saw that. All right, folks, let's get ready to get back at it on Tuesday. Talk to you guys then.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.